Hello everyone, welcome on board.
Hey guys, what's happening? So thanks for joining this week's episode of Sailing Talia. What we've decided is, since we're stuck in Valencia for at least, well, most likely one more week, because we've just got a little bit of engine work to do and we're waiting for a weather window to take off down to Denia, we thought that this would be the best time to let you guys aboard and show you around a Beneteau 373. Not just any Beneteau 373, but Talia. So what that means is you're going to see all the updates we've done so far and also get a feel of what a Beneteau 373 is all about. So let's go.
Hi, I'm Laure. And this is Luke. After years of the city life, we decided to take the path less traveled and live upon the waves. So we did it. We bought a tiny floating home, Talia.
Join us as we discover the Med, push our limits and learn how to sail in the process. That's right, we're only just getting started. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow us as we transition to life on the sea.
Start with the bow of the boat and then we progressively gonna move to the stern of the boat. So we'll start with the V-berth.
So one of the great things about the 373 is we have windows on both sides of the hull. So in the morning you can wake up and see directly what's going on both sides. Not to mention, of course, as most V-berths, you've got the hatch directly above. So there's always a nice flow of air coming in through here.
When there's wind.
When there's wind.
Which is not always the case. So when there's no wind, it's super hot here. Like, we struggle to sleep when there's no wind.
As you can see right now, the easterly is coming straight through and we're getting blown around a lot already.
So what I really like about the V-berth is all the shelves we have on both sides, which allow us to put some books. And we also bought these little baskets so it can be well organized, which is really important in a boat.
In the V-berth, not only do you have huge amounts of light coming in from the hatch and the two windows in the hull, but also you've got plenty of artificial light as well if you need. So we've got reading lights on both sides, and there's also lights underneath the ledge of the deck here as well. Also on top of that we have plenty of storage, which is handy. So here we've got one of our cupboards on the starboard side for all of our hanging stuff. And then on the other side, on the port side, we have much more storage with folded clothes, some clothes that are folded less well than others. On board we've got a total water capacity of 375 litres. So where do we store all of that water? Well, in the V-berth we've got 250 litres under the bed. In the starboard aft cabin we've got another 125 litre tank under that bed. And then in the port aft cabin we've got 125 litres of fuel under that bed. Hey guys, here we are in the living room, or as you would say in marine speak or boat talk, this is the Salon.
And this is where we spend most of our time in the afternoon, usually when we want to have a siesta, or in the evening when we just want to relax and watch Netflix. This is really spacious here. I really like this place because we could sit together with like what, six other people?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Sure.
easily. This is cozy, this is comfy. I like it here. And also, we have a lot of storage. Like, you can't see it like that, but behind all the cushions, we have actually secret places where we can put all of our stuff. So it looks always clean, but actually behind it's
Always?
not that clean.
Always clean. Well, it looks clean now because we cleaned up for you guys. You're our guests on board today.
So another thing that is also very convenient in the Salon is the table. As you can see now, we can easily walk through it because the table has the wings down, but as soon as we want to eat, it's super easy because we just have to do that. And then this, on the other side, it's actually the same principle. Like this, and you have a full table for 6 people. One of Luke's favorite storage in this boat is actually a secret place that is in the table, and I'll show it to you. Ta-da! Then you will probably wonder what it is. It's actually a place for the booze. Luke's booze.
Throughout the entire boat, underneath the flooring, you've got what's called the bilge. You may remember from a former episode I mentioned that the bilge is like a huge tray that runs throughout the entire boat. Well, the deepest part of the bilge is just under here. If water ingress was to come in anywhere on the boat, no matter if it was at the very bow of the boat or the very stern of the boat, that water is going to find a channel somewhere in the bilge under the floors and make its way all the way to here. Like I said, the deepest part of the bilge. Now in this bilge, you've got what's called a bilge pump. This is sitting in a very small channel at the very bottom. So what happens is, if water was to come in and the water level rises in the boat, it would trigger this automatic float switch, which you may remember me talking about in the very first episode of Sailing Talia. And what happens is, as this float switch starts to float and lift to a high enough level, it triggers the bilge pump. One of the big advantages of the Beneteau 373, and probably the main reason people buy this boat, is the head height. Unlike most boats in this class, you're usually having to bend over and hobble around like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Here, you're able to stand up fully, and I'm not a short guy. You've actually got 2 meters of head height below deck here. The same applies in the forward cabin and also the 2 aft cabins as well. So this is the Nav Desk on the Beneteau 373. The navigation desk, as the name suggests, is where you tend to do the passage planning, either on charts here on the chart table, or we tend to do it on the digital chart plotter that's installed out in the cockpit. But we can do it here if we need to. This is really the brains of the boat. This is where all the electronic equipment comes back to this control panel here. We've also got our brand new battery monitor here from Victron installed. We'll go into more detail in what the battery monitor is all about and what it's used for, how we use it in another episode. Also here we've got our new VHF radio from B&G. It's also got AIS integrated, so that means we can see other boats out at far distances on the AIS plotter here, and it also feeds back to the chart plotter in the cockpit as well. Like most boats, we've got a lot of tools on board, not just this one, and the tricky part is finding a place to store all the tools. So I've got my first and foremost toolbox under the chair here.
are in the kitchen, which is also called the galley on the boat. What I really like about this is that we have a lot of spaces. Actually, this is not small at all. I really like this. It came with the boat. It's a wooden plank that we can use just to cut veggies and fruits and everything. But you can also remove it. I'll show you. And then we have the stove and just under it, the oven.
One of the very cool things that's very different from a kitchen in a house or an apartment is the stove setup. So the stove and the oven here underneath are actually on a gimbal. So what that means is if we're in some rough weather and the boat is heeling from side to side, pots of water, anything that's baking in the oven doesn't spill over. So as the boat moves, as you can see, the oven stays upright all the time. We've also got a 110 litre top loading fridge, and if you have a look inside, that's more than enough space for both of us, which also has a very small freezer here in the top, which is really handy for having a bit of ice every now and then.
So unlike most boats of this size, the Beneteau 373 has a full stand-up shower, and what I really love about it is that we have hot water when we are connected to the shore power.
On board Talia we have 2 double cabins at the stern of the boat. Since we're liveaboards, only one of them is functional as a guest's cabin. We use the other one as much needed storage. Both cabins have wardrobes for additional storage of Laure's many outfits. Before we head outside, we'll just show you quickly, underneath the companionway stairs here is the heart of the boat. So on board the 373 is a standard Volvo Penta 2030 engine. That's 29 horsepower, and as I found out just yesterday, it takes about 4.5 litres of oil. She's just had her oil freshly changed, and she's pretty much ready for us to head on out and make our first passage. So here we are above deck in the cockpit of Talia. As you can see, we've got the thermal winds that pick up every afternoon here in Valencia. The prevailing easterly is hitting us on the bow. Now, standard on board the 373 is a pivoting helm. So this is something that you can buy as an option in some boats, but this is standard on the 373. As you can see, the wheel pivots like this. What's fantastic about the pivoting helm is if you've got shopping coming on board from the marina, or if you're simply wanting to go for a dip in an anchorage somewhere, you can easily walk through the cockpit either from the dock, from the passerelle, on board, or walk from down below, up past here, and walk through really simply without having to walk around a big clunky wheel in the middle of the cockpit.
Also, on board Talia we have 4 Cockpit Lockers. I'll show you. So we just need to remove the cushion, and then we open the locker like that. And this is where we storage like all the lines, extra jerry cans, fuel tanks. Under me here we also have another Cockpit Locker, which contains important stuff like all the safety gear.
So at the moment the spray hood is down, but this is great protection if we're out sailing around and there's a bit of weather in front of us. It keeps us dry from anything that could splash up and get us wet. So this is Talia's Bimini. looks to me like the original Bimini, which probably belongs in a museum somewhere. But we've updated the Bimini with brand new solar panels, two 150 watt solar panels, which is what's powering Talia when we're away from the shore power. So here at the back of the boat is what's called the Transom, or affectionately known as the sugar scoop. Here, as standard on the 373, we have this, well, first of all, it's like a dive platform, but what makes it super practical is this step ladder to get back on board. So this is the perfect spot if you're in an anchorage to get back on board the boat after having a swim and then shower off.
The bow of the boat, which is actually my favorite part on board, because this is where we like to have an aperitif in the evening and just, you know, watch the boats coming in and out and just relax. This is really a perfect moment.
So at the bow of the boat is also where we have our anchor and the anchor's chain locker. The anchor chain is lifted and dropped by an electric windlass here, which is controlled by these two buttons underneath here. So on board Talia we have a 25 kilo Mantis Anchor. If you want to know more about the Mantis Anchor, we spoke about it just in a previous episode, how we set it up and how we placed it. To know more, click here. In the chain locker here, we have 50 meters of galvanized steel chain, and as you can see there, a brand new anchor chain buoy. So on board Talia we have a 36 square meter genoa behind me, the head sail, which much like the Bimini is an original and most likely belongs in a museum, but we'll probably get another season out of her, so until she fails, we're happy with the genoa. So here in the lazy bag is Talia's mainsail. The mainsail is about or just over 30 square meters. One thing that's quite different with Talia's mainsail compared to most boats of this size is actually the height. So the mast itself is actually 15.5 meters tall. Most boats around this size have a mast of only around 15 meters, so Talia's is a little bit taller, which in itself is a little bit worrying because that makes us more of a lightning risk if we're in a busy marina or a not so busy marina. But hey, if we're going to get struck by lightning, what are you going to do about it, right? So, as you've seen, on board Talia we have pretty much everything we could need, with one exception. We don't actually have a laundry. So, this morning I'm going to show you exactly what we do to solve the problem of having no laundry. Small items like this can typically get a hand wash in the bucket outside, but for a more substantial wash, we have to make a trip to the laundromat.
I've seen so many times before, but it's something else today.
Well done, guys. You made it through our longest episode so far. As a token of our appreciation, we wanted to give you guys a little bit of extra insight into Talia, and specifically around the name Talia. So we decided to name her Talia based on 2 reasons. Reason number 1
is that we thought that we would buy the boat in Greece, and so we wanted to give the boat a classical Greek name.
Talia with an H, so T-H-A-L-I-A, is the classical Greek muse for comedy. And since both of us like a bit of a laugh every now and then, mostly at one another's expense, we thought it would be an appropriate name. Reason number 2, in Australian Aboriginal language, the word Talia means near water. And I can assure you right now, having spent the morning under the hull cleaning all the barnacles and seaweed and all the fun things that accumulate and grow at the bottom of a boat, Talia is definitely near water. So with that, we decided an appropriate name for her would be Talia. Again, thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for watching this episode. Really delighted to see so many of you guys subscribing and following along. It really means a lot to us that you're enjoying this journey as much as we are. And keep on liking if you like what you're seeing. And if you're new to us here at Sailing Talia, please do hit subscribe and follow along for the journey. One other thing, we're just about to launch a bit of a Q&A section at the end of some of our videos every now and then. So if you do have any questions about this lifestyle that we're living and this shift from land life to sea life, drop a message down in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer your question as soon as possible. We will see you in the next episode.